Good evening, good morrow, and good day, and welcome to another edition of Slice and Dice here with the Many Lands campaign. We've got some great updates for you in shameless plugs before we begin today's session. But first of all, let me bring in the guys. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. But the first thing I need to do before any shameless plugs is a big thank you to our most recent followers here on the channel. They include, we said Superdub 1973, so after that, yes, Captain Mech, Enzo3342, the Zombie Killer 123, and Anti-Citizen 1. Thank you all so much for following the channel. Now, these guys started following due to some of our game night streams, and there's been a few of these over the last 2 weeks. I've been playing some video games. I've been changing things up from Slice and Dice. It started as a kind of the gateway drug of from TTRPG into video games with some Valheim. And then that's swiftly moved on to myself, Araz, who you may remember was a guest on Slice and Dice a couple of months back, and our friend Matt, the three of us playing Vermintide on the channel. We've had a couple of sessions of that. There may well be another game night of Vermintide tomorrow night. That may well be a thing. And nice. We still have room for one more, guys. So if any of you do play Vermintide or have it, you're welcome to come along and join in that fun times. And in addition to that, the most recent one, as you can probably tell from Zombie Killer 123, is I've been playing some State of Decay 2 from the very beginning. So if you're into your zombie apocalypse survival type shows or games, then come join me for that. I have been a bit slow to respond to the chat because my chat screen is up here out of my sightline, but I should have this prepared and fixed in time for the next stream because I do have another little tiny screen which I could set up. I just need to make sure that's all working, and hopefully that'll be all good for next time.
Shameless plug!
Anyway, big shameless plug there for that. But in addition to that, with the kind of with game nights in mind, we've been talking about it for a while, and it will be a thing, so keep your eyes peeled on our social media if you're not following us already, because having some discussion with Bart, with Marshall, and with Marta, who's not here today, we may well be streaming some Overwatch before too long, because now Marshall with crossplay has been able to join us playing the game, and I think Bart and Marta introduced me to it. And they've got a whole selection of like-minded individuals / colleagues / friends who also play Overwatch. We sometimes team up together. In fact, we've ended up with a whole 6, which is the maximum amount over the last couple of nights. So we may well have an Overwatch stream before you know it. Follow us at Slice and D6 to make sure that you're notified before we go live with an Overwatch stream.
Shameless plug!
Because I spent a horrendous amount of money getting Overwatch on my PlayStation.
You definitely
did.
should.
Yes, just for that, you should check it out.
Too much money for an old game.
Yes,
too much money.
Hopefully you get as much enjoyment out of it as I have, and I'm sure as Bart has as well. It's out of all the games I've bought, that's the one I've probably put the most hours into. So, yes, there's a.
I play Dead by Daylight. We should lure people into that.
That could be interesting too. Hello, Family Fantasy RPG in the chat. Howdy, hey, lurking until this Zoom meeting is over. Well, go for it. It is the modern way. So, Overwatch stream, game night stream. What else do we have? Yes, now, there was one other shameless plug.
Shameless plug!
So, friends of ours, friends of the channel, Roll for Mischief, with their live-streamed D&D campaign, which takes place, I believe, fortnightly on Tuesdays. Their Winds of War campaign is nearly over. They're all level 20 characters now, and I've been a bit of a fan of theirs. Kerry from Tabletop Crafty. You may remember we've done giveaways with her before. She's one of the players in that and is now a streamer as well in her own right under Could Be Kerry. Well, I joined her. Matt, also from Roll for Mischief, with the handle Punk Rock Turtle, who was the GM for a very special one-shot of an RPG called The Wretched. And we were also joined, myself and Kerry being players, joined by the creator of The Wretched, Chris, who was the third player in our game. It was a very special one-shot. It was a completely different system. It was very interesting. It was very sort of narrative-driven. It was a lot of fun. But equally, it was a kind of a horror sci-fi feel to it. So think Alien or The Thing. There was that kind of vibe to it, with 3 of us on a skeleton crew going to check out a derelict ship that we have been told by a mysterious benefactor to go to retrieve something of import there and find, well, many horrors awaiting us there. So if you'd like to see how that goes down, and also see nearly the entire game being derailed by a Johnny Vegas comment, and then suddenly Johnny Vegas was part of the whole thing. If like, it has to be seen to be believed, but we nearly all broke down in tears with laughter during that. Then go check that out. It's live now on Punk Rock Turtles channel. It's Matt's channel. That's twitch.tv/punk PUNCK rock turtle, normal spelling. To check that out for yourself. I'm hoping to get a copy of the footage as well, and we'll put it up on YouTube in the future. That's the plan for that. But it was great fun, and if you guys are watching, thank you once again for inviting me on as a guest. It was really good fun. Love to do it again sometime. And that was all in celebration of Matt's Kickstarter for his audio drama series based on The Wretched, which has reached its first stretch goal. So that was the occasion for that, and there's all sorts of links of how you can support that audio drama as well, because the Kickstarter is still going on his channel, so go check that out. Anyway, that's a big old
shameless plug.
With that out the way, unless you guys have anything else to add, the floor is open. No, okay, it's fine. Yeah. It's fine. Kudos to DK, of course, with repping the merch from our merch store. Just gonna slip that in there. Our spring store, you can visit that right now and get yourself your own Slice and Dice merchandise.
Shameless
anyway,
plug.
Slipping that in before we get in with tonight's session. Thank you. Tonight's session of the Many Lands campaign. We're about to change countries, so this could be interesting. Let's jump in and find out what's going to happen tonight here in the Many Lands campaign on Slice and Dice. And we are back. So, folks, last time in the Many Lands campaign, grab my book. So first of all, we caught up with Brucon to find out what he'd been up to, whilst the rest of the group were dealing with the Drow in the Underdark and the scariness and saving the Smurfs and all the drama that was happening there. And Brucon was having a much more leisurely time. He got to spend some more time meditating with the monks of the Eyrie, with Master Talon, and then was approached by Drez, the leader of the Dragonborn Wyvern Riders, who challenged into single combat, and Brucon was the victor in that thing. And so, to celebrate Brucon's victory, he offered, as is custom apparently in Richeer, for Brucon to join them for drinks that evening to celebrate, which Brucon merrily agreed to on the understanding that Richeeri alcohol is quite different to the stuff he's used to from Burikrin. But that wasn't the only surprise in store for Brucon, because later on that day, Greenblade, the ranger, showed up unexpectedly at the Eyrie, having been told to go in that direction. He was meant to meet the rest of the party actually at the Salt Lakes, but has communicated that the area was a bit too hostile. There were too many eyes around watching, so he just opted to go to the Eyrie instead, on the understanding that somebody at least would be there. And that wasn't the only thing that Greenblade had been up to in that time, as the rest of the party discovered their horses were missing when they got back to the surface. Their horses, who they'd asked to go and hide and to return to them in the morning, didn't seem to have returned by the time the group left the Underdark and left Sverfhaven, which they were heralded as heroes when they left. But they managed to, they actually managed to succeed on a tracking check on survival, and so were able to locate where the horses had been taken, and had found actually that they'd been led up the slope in a kind of a roundabout kind of way back to the Eyrie on a path that the group hadn't yet discovered themselves. It turns out it was a lot more of a longer, windier, round the houses kind of route, but was safe for the horses to traverse, and they had then been kept in the cave where the meteor had struck into the mountain. What was quite disturbing for the party was that they found that the alien remains, and as far as they know, just an alien, but as we know, it was a Mind Flayer body, no longer there. But they decided to just ignore that and not think about that too much, because the horses were there and the horses were fine, and that was the main thing. Before wondering how they got there, it turns out it was Greenblade who led them there. But the group didn't want to be parted from their horses when they would be going to Richeer, and also had noted that it was going to be difficult getting the horses over the seesaw, for lack of a better term, along the path up to the Eyrie. But fortunately, they have the wizard Brina in their party, and so with a liberal use of the fly spell, both the horses were flown over to the main entrance of the Eyrie, with Seth and Neris majestically riding their horses over in the sky and then towards the Eyrie. You reconvened, you met up with Brucon, so the rest of you, finally, the whole party reunited. Hee-haw, indeed. Thank you, Marshall, in the chat. And you meet up with Greenblade as well. He has the bone dagger, as he was asked to bring it by Seth and co. And so with Seth using his illusion magic to close off, or seemingly close off, one of the alcoves in the Eyrie, the rest of you can have a private conversation and hand over the dagger. There was a theory that there was a link between why the Red Mages were interested in Neris and interested in the bone dagger, and so I think at Seth's behest, Neris grabs the dagger, feels that there is a warmth behind it, but doesn't seem to get any other effect that that anyone could perceive. But later on, Brina had used the Identified spell to work out that this was indeed a magic weapon, this bone dagger. And is incredibly old, and felt a little bit of foreboding just holding it. So there was some bad juju about that blade. And the last discovery, of course, with great news for Brucon, was that Brina had been given the alchemy jug by her mother, the chief alchemist of Sverfhaven, and so the evening, as we left the party, was Brucon lying underneath the alchemy jug and having beer poured directly into his face.
Great news for Brucon and anyone with a crippling addiction to mayonnaise.
Yes, I'm sure the alchemy jug will have many, many uses. I look forward to seeing how this is implemented when Angelique's back, of course, actually playing the character, because, you know, rather than having me doing it, of course, that's not the same. But anyway, so unless there's anything else you guys wanted to achieve in the evening, I will say that you're free to have a long rest and pick things up in the morning. But if there's anything you wanted to do overnight, now's the time. No? No, just give us a long rest, please.
Nothing springs to
Sleep. Much like in real life, I'd like a long sleep overnight.
Sure. Excellent. Okay, so you all get your long rest. Brucon, can you roll a constitution check for me, please?
Ooh. Saucy.
Don't be alarmed, sir.
At least it's just a check.
Constitution. I say, he said check, not saving throw. That's my big thing here. Constitution check. 18.
18. All right. So when you wake up, it's like you hadn't drunk anything at all. You're completely sober, no signs of a hangover. You're all good.
Of course.
Because
Splendid.
You especially had gone for the Rachiri Sambuca, which was spicy as well as being quite potent.
Yeah, drinking Fireball all evening.
Exactly. As well as the beer from the alchemy jug, which you noted was okay, bit bland, but it does the job.
Yeah. Yeah. Brucon wakes to go and relieve himself, and when he's a bit ginger when he's walking back. He's a bit kind of like, I'm fine. Everything is fine. And then I don't know. We never really got into what the dining arrangements are at the Eyrie, but whatever they are, Brucon wants to attack them with gusto.
Okay, so you would know, Brucon, because you've been here for a while now at the Eyrie, that there isn't so much like a mess hall or anything like that. For the most part, eating is a solitary activity, which people do generally in their alcoves, or else by the storage area where most of the foodstuffs are kept. There are a couple of Aarakocra who seem to be a bit more into their culinary skills, and so will be preparing some sort of meal, but it's generally self-sustaining rather than for the group.
No, fine. Just give me the food, man.
Just go to the store, help yourself to some grain. Because the Aarakocra diet is mostly fruit and nuts, so you're kind of on the caveman diet. But the Dragonborn eat heartily, and so you've got waft from them. They set up a spit and they've been cooking meat. They had it going all night, to be fair, but there's still some scraps there. You could help yourself to that as well if you wanted something a bit more protein based. The rest of you, again, when you wake up of your own volition, there's no real urgency, it seems. In fact, the Dragonborn some of them seem to be faring a lot worse than you after the night's events, and don't particularly appear to be mourning people. But Drez is trying to whip them all into shape when he eventually rises, and you can hear him barking orders to them, and looking around, keeping an eye on where you guys are as well, particularly, of course, your elven companion Neris, who does not like the attention. So, what are you guys... so, are you... when you wake up in the morning, what's your plan? What is it you wanted to do?
We don't know what they're doing yet. Like, are they taking us to Rachir?
Do you want to inquire
that
with
was
them,
what
or?
had been. That was so taking us back to Rachir was what they had promised was their intent back before we split up. But yeah, it seems to make sense to go and.
So wait until we're all awake so we can go over as a group conversation. So we don't need to reiterate to people. And make sure that we have a fire extinguisher near Neris. Just
Or
like an
Malar
alchemy,
with,
like
create
Brucon
water.
alchemy.
I was going to say we have a cleric.
And we'll go find, what's his name again? Drug?
Drez.
Drez.
Not quite.
Yeah, if his
the
name was
Drez
Drug, he'd be a
society,
much
but
better
close.
friend of Brucon.
It's true.
Yeah, let's go find Dreg.
Brucon comes up. Can I snort you?
He's very easy
Very
to
good
spot as
friends.
he is. He's clearly carries the weight of
Okay.
office. He's of a superior rank to the rest of them, barking out orders, marching around with a bit of puff. And
Puff? Is he a white dragonborn?
he's he appears to be. I'll tell you what, make a perception check.
Okay.
Because as was established before, most of these dragonborn are they're not kind of full one color of scales. They're mostly kind of copper, brown, tan scales with a few of a particular color to denote their heritage.
Is that perception? Perception for all of us, or
Just for Leoben because he was inquiring, but if you want to know this, then feel free. You could also ask Brucon.
With my modifier of 0, that is 10.
10. All right. With a 10, it's hard to see what kind of dragonborn he is, what his heritage is. Brucon, however, does know, but you don't know that he knows. But yes, when he's barking out,
Does he know that I know that he doesn't know?
Someone had to do it, didn't they?
I mean, up to you. Not me. I'm not making that decision.
If you were me, then I'd be you, and I'd use your body to get.
But they don't know that we know that we know they know.
now is there anything that
cross-eyed.
Seth knows I don't know that I should know so that other people can't know?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm glad we both followed that one. So you're gonna if you as soon as you kind of start looking for Drez, he kind of locks eyes with you, Seth, because you're the one looking for him. Says, you're all here then.
Yes, you. So you wanted to take us with you to Richkir
That's,
as not prisoners?
that's right.
Yeah, just really wanted to clarify that last point.
No, you're not prisoners, but I have to take you before the king. That is what needs to be done. This one here, pointing at Neris, as we said, bears the mark of Ushtag. This is something that the king should know about. And he may have questions for all of you.
On a scale of like 1 to Neris, how pissed does she look from him just talking to them?
I mean, she was pissed when she woke up with her resting pissed face. She's still pissed.
So a natural 4.
It's actually, if I was to put a numerical value on it, she's now gone up to a kind of a 7 out of 10.
Mm.
Which for Neris is
Like
pretty
that's
darn, but for the rest of you,
Daemon
that's
level.
like a 10. But for Neris, it's 7.
Can I just say, can I get an insight check on Drez? I know it feels a bit late in the day, but let's see how is he girding himself for a double cross any minute now here? Is that
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
vibe? So insight. Okay, that is a 19.
Okay.
Nice.
With a 19, Brucon, you get the sense that he doesn't seem to be planning a double cross as such. He feels that it's his duty to take you before the king. In fact, it seems that he's been instructed to do so, to curry favour with somebody, presumably above him. However, you do get the sense that this may be a one-way trip. It doesn't sound like he's gonna be able to. It doesn't sound like he's willing to take you guys back here after whatever happens. He's not even. It doesn't seem to cross his mind. He's just focused on getting you there.
Okay, so Brucon sort of steps forward, having established the pattern of let's not beat around the bush
Yes.
here.
The direct
Steps
approach.
forward and says, "Now, Drez, something has occurred to me. Maybe we should have discussed this earlier. So you're taking us thousands, lots of miles, many miles.
Hundreds, maybe.
Well,
Maybe it's not that actually hurt there. The capital is not that far. It's maybe 200 miles.
Well, anyway, but a sufficiently lengthy distance that flying is the obvious way to do it, i.e., a long way.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And we're all from here,
Yes.
ish. So I'm curious to know if you have any idea how we're going to get back when we're done with our visit to his dragon ship or whatever. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of your official head of state.
That's a good point. We'll get back to that, but that's fine. Because
Yep, no worries.
no, he's King Zarandak.
This is I'm not expecting this guy to be, you know, like dispensing lots and lots of
Here,
information
have
about
all
his
this
homeland.
lore I've been carrying around.
Yeah. Well, or kind of like, here, people I don't trust. Here is
Yeah.
some of the vital information about my homeland.
He's
Yeah,
just,
no
he's,
worries.
so he smirks and turns again in the familiar way that he's done a couple of times with you, Brucon, to a couple of his knights. They say I like this dwarf. I respect your directness. Now, it's my job to get you to the king. What the king wants to do with you is his business. It's not up to me to bring you back afterwards. You have to make your own way. Hey, if you have the coin for it, maybe, and I'm available, sure, I can bring you back. However, I have other duties to attend to, so it's not my priority to make sure you get safely back to Bulverkrin.
Brucon pulls his tonfar out and very casually does some little spinny kind of stuff, but with a kind of like, you remember this? You remember what this felt like? You remember this one? And sort of toys with the tonfar a little bit as he kind of idly, you know, he kind of strikes a pose and sort of, you know, looks at the ceiling, and then he turns back to the rest of the group and says, what do we think? How are we feeling about spending lots of money getting ourselves back from a foreign kingdom, which we are not especially interested in, which we're not particularly desperate to go visit in the first place?
Anything we want to come back for?
Well, I can't speak for anyone else, but I certainly have various things I'm wanting to continue to follow up, and Leobrin, of course, has parental duties he's going to need to perform at some stage. Maybe. I'm still not entirely clear about how all that's going to work, but
I mean, I still have to find the orb.
yes.
It was an orb. It's been a long time.
Is that a local orb?
You've
or...
got to find the third sister.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
the third sister. Yeah,
I thought it was.
You've got the orb.
you got the orb. Yeah.
There's some force pulling me in a certain direction.
Yes, that's right. It was
It's
your
called
innate.
gravity,
It was your innate.
Leo.
It was your innate sense of where the third sister was. It was
Okay.
which you can at any time just let me know if you want to, like, you know, activate that power.
Malar, what about Malar? Is Malar your driving purpose has been fulfilled, but the immediate one, but what's next on the list?
Well, he obviously wants to fix the lady currently held captive in the church because she's a werewolf. Needs Brina's help. Existentially wants to notionally come back to Hammerfern, but also isn't against a little jaunt into Rachir, but definitely wants to come back. Can't state that one enough. Come back to
just for clarity's sake, because Brucon is probably the person in the party with the strongest interest in going to Rachir, because if I'm remembering correctly, Jack, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure Brucon's had another funky vision thing.
Yes, he did.
That's fairly strongly indicative. So Brucon's up for it. The reason why he's adopting this route is that he knows, you know, just because it's something he's up for doesn't mean everyone else is in. But also, there's a certain amount of negotiating tactic going on here.
Yeah.
So yeah, he kind of goes around the houses and sort of checks with everyone, and then turns back to Dres, twiddling with the tonfar the whole time. That isn't a euphemism. Twiddling with the tonfar the whole time, and then sort of, you know, casually says, you know, I'm not sure that's quite going to be enough for us, really. You know, we have ties here. If you can't guarantee that we'll be able to be returned home in good time, then I'm not at all convinced that we're willing to go quietly with you. And of course, there's one person who's opinion probably matters more than anyone else here. Neris, how do you feel about being taken to Rachir with no promise of any means of returning home when we're done with whatever nonsense this is all about?
I don't like these guys.
Quite. So Brucon turns back to Dres and says, "So I think we're going to need a little more than that."
Well, you may recall I was informed that you were spies from Burikrin, and so it is a courtesy that I am keeping you alive to take you over to the king to ascertain exactly whether you are spies or not. You have said you are not, but it is not for me to decide. If, however, you are going to be hostile, then by all means I shall call over my wyverns and we shall dispatch you. It's how it is.
Tonfar twiddling intensifies at this. And Brucon turns to... Brucon kind of goes, okay. Well...
One of the wyverns is like
God love...
reels up.
Well, God loves a trier, I suppose.
Why don't we continue this conversation where we know we're speaking the truth? And I'm going to ask Brina. Brina,
Oh,
do
that's
the
a great
thing.
idea! Zone of Truth.
That is a great idea.
Charisma save.
But, yeah. Now we can all trust each other that we're not going to kill each other yet.
Dred's got a natural 20 on the save.
This time.
He has to do it every 6 seconds. He's going to
to do
fail.
it every... Yeah, I will say, a brief meta moment, I'm not convinced Zone of Truth is perfectly designed. Anyway.
Yes.
At this point, Malar will sort of, with the Zone of Truth having been cast, he'll sort of chip in with, since we're going to your liege lord under pain of whatever here, this mark of Ushtag, what can you tell us about that? Since that is the reason we are being summoned.
Make a persuasion check, please, Malar.
Sure, yeah, okay. 19.
All right. Well, since you asked so politely, Mr. Loxodon, I should tell you that, the mark of Ushtag is the red dragon, the great red dragon, yes? Well, I am descended from the blue dragon. I have blue scales. His name was Wulfric. So, anyone with red scales may have been descended in some way from Ushtag the Deceiver, the great red dragon who I'm sure you will know of, held dominion over entirety of the many lands through deceit and treachery and war. And of course was a menace to this land. He was a blight on this land. Rachir is still marked by his presence. Well, those Dragonborn made in his image, the Red Dragonborn, they were led by a clan named Clan Ushbek. They, after we formed the Dragonborn Kingdom, tried to occupy the kingdom for themselves, betraying the rest of the clans. The clans were all separate before we were united by the kingdom. Anyway, once they attempted to overthrow us, then we fought back, and they were defeated and exiled. They were cast out from Rachir. The fact that there is an elf with those signs is most unusual. And I take it you come from that country on the other side. What is it?
Isk.
No, not Isk. The Red Land. What's it called? Brina just pipes in. Kothar? Yes, Kothar. Yes, that's the one. And then he fails. Then he fails his truth. His thing. The Zone of Truth thing. So, yes. So, I don't know exactly what happened here, but an elf with dragonborn scales is not normal. And the fact that it is of an enemy of the dragonborn people means that she must be taken before the king as well as the rest of you for potentially being spies for our enemy across the border. So it's not my decision to make. I am just the delivery
Like I
boy.
said, we're in the zone of truth, and we swear, cross our hearts. I'm pretty sure we all just have the one. Yeah, we've all got one heart. Cross our hearts, hope not to die. We are not spies for the country. I've been in there for like 2 weeks. Pretty shit. They don't know how to give a reward that's not rent and property. So
Some people consider property valuable, Seth. Just FYI.
but
Wow.
It took a while to tell.
We're now landed.
All of us are
Some-
going like,
some
going,
non-
Seth, what the fuck? We can't afford property.
Some non-murder hobo people consider having a fixed abode to be an advantage.
No, I live on a boat for most of my life. Grounded
true, you are.
beard.
Houseboat. Boathouse.
But like, what's happened to previous people that you guys have decided, like, oh, they're a different race from us, we want to kill them?
Oh, whoa,
What's
whoa,
happened
whoa,
to them
whoa,
when you
whoa.
brought them
No,
to the
no,
king?
no, hang on, no. There's never, they look different, therefore we must fight them. There is not that. That is not what happened here.
I thought it's because she had red scales. Like, I thought this was like, you know, she's got red scales, you've got blue scales, you see each other across the room, you start clicking your fingers, gang war goes off.
I think you've been
Don't
reading...
try to make this into West Side Story.
Yeah, I think you've been reading
Maybe.
too many stories there, Sea Elf. But as I said, they are an ancient enemy, and this is a person of interest. Not necessary. I'm not saying the elf here is an enemy, though I imagine she could be if she wanted to be. But she bears the mark of our ancient enemy, and that is something that the king must know about. And I believe you when you say you are not spies. You know, there is, you have magic, you have the zone of truth. If it does what it says, rather than it's possessing me or something, then you are telling the truth. But it is not me you have to convince, it is the king. For I have been ordered to bring you before the king.
And past people that have been, you know, had the mark and stuff that have gone before the king,
Yes.
did they live?
No, not all of them.
So, okay, so some.
Yes, some escaped, yes.
So,
Escaped.
so Drez, I'm just gonna circle back to an earlier point in this conversation. You know how you were saying we aren't prisoners,
Yes,
and you're not here to take us prisoner.
yes.
So when you say the people who didn't die escaped,
Yes. They were exiled.
what-
The red, as I said, Khan Ushbek was exiled. I have not seen an elf with the mark of Ushtag. This is new. It has only been Dragonborn thus far. She is the first. That is why she is important. That's why we are interested.
Everyone with this mark was killed or had to escape before being killed.
Yes, they occupied Herthir, and we had to fight back and overthrow them. And yes, they were prisoners, and some were killed, and some escaped. Yes, that is what happened. I
So
probably shouldn't have
Neris'
told you all
fate
of that.
is most likely being killed or having to escape.
I don't know. It is not up to me. It is up to the king. As I said, she is an elf with Dragonborn scale. That is strange. The king may find this interesting. He may not want to kill her. He may want to find out more about her. He may want to kill her, but that is his prerogative. He is king. This is his decision. He knows better than the likes of me. Although, you know, Caladan, my superior, may disagree with that. Thinks the king actually doesn't like to make the hard decisions, such as executing prisoners, but Caladan definitely would do that. He's much more ruthless than... Then he's like...
That's out of truth.
Well,
You'll get
maybe we should just all finish our breakfast and start making our plans, you know, getting our belongings together and back away.
Just don't take too long, okay? We want to... You've been waiting long enough for you to come back here for your dwarf. I can promise you that I will not kill you when we are going across, and I will not lay a finger on you unless you do on me first, as I'm sure the dwarf will attest. We had a little fight. He bested me in single combat. It was great fight. But I am a man of my word, and I say that if you don't fight me, I will not fight you, but I must take you before the king. That is what I must do on my honor. As a wyvern rider of the Dragonborn Kingdom, I am obligated to do this.
I'm just gonna put like hand on Brucon and Mal's shoulders and just like, yep, we're just gonna go talk. And slowly back away and turn around to them and be like, cool, we'll see you guys in a little bit. And as we turn around, we need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the argument for going is not a strong one at the moment, is it?
No.
Like, if you said, oh yes, some of them escaped, some of them had lovely lives for a couple days. That's fine. We could have still gone with something. But no, everyone that goes there that's like Neris, dead. We need to get the fuck out of here. I don't want to fight dragon things.
Yeah, these guys are more on the dictate terms mindset than the let's negotiate mindset. So yeah, I'm with Seth.
Like, how many are left, Jack? Actually, how many like Dragonborns and Wyverns are there?
There's not that many that have stayed here at the Eyrie. There's between half a dozen.
You're speaking Slayer language.
Between half a dozen and 10.
Oh, that's much more than not that many.
And is it one? Why that's the number of people, and each person has a wyvern.
Yes.
Is that the?
Yes. Although not all the wyverns are in view currently.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just like there's only 7 of them around or something.
If we run, what are we going to do? Because they have all the cards. Like the ability to fly is huge. So
who's got
we
the
can
spell?
fly.
And I've got everyone in like a group of things. And Neris and Brina here as well. Okay, who has the spell teleport across the planet? Anyone? Teleport to a city.
If I may, and suddenly you all turn around as Greenblade has picked himself up from seemingly nowhere. He seemed to have been sleeping somewhere not particularly in view. You sound like you're in a spot
so that no one else is going to be joining in the conversation.
No, as far as I'm aware, I think the Aarakocra are giving us a wide berth. No, you sounded distressed. I thought I'd better see what's going on. What's the situation?
We're gonna die.
Oh, well. Today or?
I know, 12 hours.
It's sometime in the not too distant future.
I may have misheard, but are these fellows looking to take you to Rachir? Is that what the arrangement is?
Yes, they want to take us there to kill Neris.
Huh.
They didn't say kill. But they do want to, just take Neris, with or without us. Just gonna take her.
And question her in front of a king who likes to kill people, who has killed everyone like her in the past. If they haven't escaped.
Well, that doesn't sound great. Look, obviously there's quite a lot of them here. More than I haven't. I've seen you in the fray, and you know how you dealt with those Ankegs that time. I mean, you guys can hold your own. However, there's a lot of these guys, and there are others. Remember, what's more important here: the Dragonborn are not the enemy that we have in common, right? It's those red mages are the real enemy here. And they're keeping an eye on whatever's going on here. I feel that perhaps they're involved somehow in whatever this is. I think running. You're welcome to try. I just think that they've got flying dragon-like creatures. They may outrun you. So, but did you know? You know the Moonrunners, yes?
Yes.
Yep.
You know that their primary sort of source of income is running goods over the border.
Yes, they've mentioned that.
Well, they don't seem to be interested in me going back to Richir. So how about if I were to make contact with those Moonrunners, maybe see if I can get you some allies in Richir. In case anything goes awry, they can give you a means of escape, perhaps.
Smuggle us out.
Exactly.
Yes.
Not the first time they've smuggled people, so...
Brucon claps. Greenblade's human, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Brucon claps a hand on Greenblade's elbow, which is probably about as far as he's getting, and says, "My friend, you're a very possible lifesaver. That's a brilliant idea. I fully endorse it."
And Greenblade kind of reciprocates by kind of grabbing, like doing the handshake where you grab the
Yeah.
Yes.
Sold.
And then just he tosses back his majestic Panten-like locks, not dissimilar to Marshall's actually, and says, "It's all in a day's.
I've got long hair.
It's all in a
You can't see
can't
because
see
I've got
it.
a background and it's tied back, but it's there. Promise."
It's all in a day's work." And then
Yes,
has a little
toss
bit of a
that, flip
smolder
that hair.
afterwards. Yes.
Look at that.
Hair game is strong.
Beautiful.
Looks slightly like
Strong.
Animal there,
Only
Bart, with
because
the
it's
positioning
over-
of the headset.
Yeah,
Only
it's-
because it had the headset, I was like,
Yeah.
that's just a wig.
Wait, hang on, wait.
He's letting
Oh no.
the locks all hang loose now.
He says wait and then he disappears. The suspense is killing me.
He I don't know, I feel like he's going to get a wind machine
Ah.
out, take the headphones off, and then the hair is
There
gonna
it is.
be
Amazing.
in the wind.
You
are
We can't
muted.
hear you, Bart.
This is very warm, so this isn't going to last for very long.
Okay. Well, we appreciate the effort nonetheless. Yes. So yeah, he tosses his hair back. A little bit of a smolder afterwards. Gives an intense look over to Neris, who looks a little uncomfortable with it, and just shrugs it off. Like, this guy, really? Anyway, yes. So, sounds like a plan then. I shall discreetly make my way out, and look out for one of the woodland creatures. I may send a messenger to you at some point. Like before, you remember Malar? I communicated with you once before.
Oh yes, yes.
What about sticking Greenblade? This is going to have to be a meta thing, I'm afraid, because this is... Well, no, actually, no. Sorry. Brucon turns to Leobrin and says, "Oh, Leobrin, actually, come to think of it, you have a means of communicating with people over long distances, don't you?"
Yes. As long as they're... Oh, yes.
Oh,
As long as they're people we're in contact with. Like you right now.
yes. Yes. Oh, is this another sending spell?
I was thinking of the book,
Yes.
the tome that allow if he gets
Yes.
his name.
We're
in-
going to
This
get
is
your
in
name
character,
in
yeah.
this book. Yes. And then... who have I currently got? Ah, wait. I got...
One
shit.
is Brucon.
Yeah, didn't I get
Fleeting.
Fleeting as
Glaive.
well?
Yeah.
Was it Glaive or no?
No, it's just fleeting.
No,
I think
not Glaive.
just fleeting.
Fleeting.
And,
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And
And it
so
I
was,
have
was
one
it 5?
space left, and then I'll have to
Presumably
start
one,
having trade. Although to be fair, I might.
drop Brucon.
Well, I can always swap in later. Yes, but let's get this green fellow. If you just pop your here is a pen.
Oh,
I've cleaned it recently.
do I?
If you just pop your
Do I have?
signature, your name.
Do I have to? He looks decidedly uncomfortable and a bit sheepish.
Does he now?
Do I have to put? Will it work if I put my?
I'm checking. I know what he's
Alias?
about to ask.
Oh, what's his name?
It's a name people know you by. I think that should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we got into this because Brucon
Yeah.
Brucon's actual name is not the name you know him by.
Yeah.
So
The,
yeah.
Yeah,
the name people know you by is your
Yeah,
name.
Greenblade, yeah, quite.
What your parents decided to call you is not
Yeah.
in any way
Yeah.
related to that fact.
Hence
He has
that
to upgrade
Discord
his
joke.
name to Greenblade from like Pink Pencil or something.
Well,
It's like that Discworld joke about the falconer who's, if you're on the basis that your name is how you introduce yourselves to people, his name is Hodges.
He kind of
Yes.
thinks. He gathers himself for a moment. I think I've know you fellows to be fairly trustworthy, and I don't see why you would have need for this information to use, for ill. So, just to be safe, I'll put my full name in. And
Okay, as long as it's the name you want to go by,
sure.
that's fine.
So he writes in the book, Loxley, Greenblade,
Lord, really?
in quotation marks, Huntsworth.
His name
Has
is
someone
Loxley
at some-
Huntsworth.
Loxley
Has someone at
Huntsworth.
Do a
some point
history check to see
has
if I
at
know
some
what
point
who
in
Hunt's
his
were.
life someone suggested that they're going to cut his heart out with a spoon?
Loxley.
And if not,
Call off
we need to make
Christmas.
that a thing.
What was that, Seth? Sorry.
I do a history check for Huntsworth.
Oh,
See if
sure,
I know that name
go
from any of the towns we've seen.
Go for it, Malar. You may also make a history check for this.
It comes up with
Uh,
he's a
8.
massive Robin Hood reference.
He's a ranger with a Robin Hood reference. No. It doesn't ring any bells to you, Seth. The only thing that takes your notice actually is when you're kind of regarding him and trying to think if you know the name, is that he has an emblem on his cloak, or sorry, as a pin on his cloak. Appears to be like a crest. You see, which has a white centaur embossed on it, with a bow.
We've met a centaur.
Malar,
21.
21. And for you, seeing the crest, the name, you recall how when you came across Greenblade and you were on the trail of, or in fact had found the statue of Lady Helene, how he looked a little bit uncertain, a little bit uncomfortable about this, and it pulls your mind back to before you left the Hammerfen Institute. You were, in order to ingratiate yourself with Lady Helene Grenforth, you were instructed to look into and learn some of the names of the houses of the Crowflies. You recall, with 21, that House Huntsworth is a vassal house to House Rookwood. House Rookwood, you recall, seems to be the ones who abducted Lady Grenforth.
Okay. Okay, noted.
It just
And he shares none
signs
of
with a
it.
flourish and then grins.
Interesting.
Okay, I'll go tell the Dragonborns that we're ready to meet their leader and be their prisoners and die. I won't use those words exactly. I'm going to walk away towards.
Perhaps you should make sure the lady's wand is off when you do that. He points at Brina. Oh, yeah.
But I imagine by now it would have run out. But anyway.
But yeah, just in case.
Let's make sure we're not accidentally completely neutralising our ability to play some conversational games.
It does work both ways with Zone of Truth, so... All right, so with that plan made, Greenblade will... he heads back over to the storage area as if to pick up some food, and he kind of melts into the group of Aarakocra that are gathering around that area, gathering their morning meals. So, what are the rest of you doing?
Are we not getting ready to leave?
Yeah, but the question is, what does that entail? In Brucon's case, he's going to go track down Master Talon one final time.
Sure. Okay. You know where her perch is, which is pretty unassailable for you without the stairs. That being said, you can certainly call her down. I tell you what. Before you do that, though, just make a perception check for me. See if you can see her. Perception.
13.
13. Okay. With a 13, you can't see her from from your position on the ground. You can't see if she's up in the alcove. Probably is, but you can't see.
I don't think there's any subterfuge needed here. Brucon calls out, Master Talon, if you wouldn't mind, a quick word, if you please.
Ah, yes, Brucon. And then you turn around and find she was basically directly behind you the entire time.
She's behind me the entire time.
Actually,
nice.
she's by the lake in the centre. She's been looking upon it and kind of placing a talon in the water and turns back to you. Yes, Brucon, how can I help?
Well, Master Talon, I just wanted to thank you for your hospitality, your advice, your assistance. I've learned a lot, and you have set me on a path to learning a great deal more. And as that is by way of being my mission in life, I feel I am in your debt. You've given me a great deal to help set me on my path. I don't have a huge amount of material items that I could give to you that would be of much value to a group of flying ascetic
And nor would I
individuals
take
who
it.
who live away from society.
Nor would I take it, brother.
but
Brucon.
but nevertheless, I feel there is something of a bond between us, let's say, and so and Brucon kind of reaches into his pack and pulls out his signet ring that belongs to his, that's the Rumbleguts sort of clan signifier, and holds it out to her and says, "This is an artifact belonging to my family. It indicates my family origins. I would be deeply grateful if you would be willing to, let us say, look after it for me while I'm in foreign lands, but both to keep my family safe should something unpleasant befall in Rachir, and to symbolise I feel the friendship that we've built. If you please, as I say, feel free to think of it merely as acting in a caretaker position rather than purely as a gift, as I understand that your order and your philosophy doesn't really allow you to hoard physical items. But still, I would, as I say, be most grateful if you would be willing to look after this for me." And he holds the ring out.
She considers this and looks upon the ring that you offer. I would give it. You would give it freely. No, that's not what happened. She looks upon it and then up at you, and again in the way that's now very familiar to you, where her beak moves as if speaking Aarakocra, yet you hear perfect common. She replies to you, "There is a lot to be said for sentimentality. We are not unfeeling creatures. I appreciate and am honoured to take this gift." And she bows her head, removes a string necklace that she has from over her head, and kind of unknots it and offers her hand to take the ring.
Brucon gives her the ring,
Threads it onto the necklace, ties it up, puts it back over. I do not know for what title you went by in your previous monastery, but I think from here I would regard you as Brother Brucon, if it please you.
that would. Brucon has a little kind of little surge of emotion, my heart, just a little one, and he kind of steps back, assumes the sort of formal position that they use in the Eyrie for bowing, and bows deeply, and says, "You honour me, Master Talon. You honour me very deeply."
I am also honoured, Brother Brucon, for consider your debt has already been paid from liberating this place from the tyranny that it was under. But I trust that we will cross paths again, and there is still much to learn. For to learn is to live, is it not written?
I'm sure it's written somewhere anyway. Yes, but that sounds good. We'll go with that. Anyway, yes, thank you very, very kindly indeed. And as you say, with a bit of luck, our paths will cross again.
Indeed, I shall keep
And,
your memento safe in your absence.
Many thanks. And Brucon kind of walks away a bit faster than he normally would. He's kind of like, God, that was a bit real. That was a bit intense. I need to get back to. I need to get back to living large and not being too, not taking anything too seriously. And Brucon goes away, gathers up all of his stuff, and then heads back to the kind of the staging post, and he's ready to go.
He's getting soft in his old age, is Brucon. Sentimentality creeping in.
Well, I will point out that he now does not have on him an item that could clearly link him to a major Beerquin.
That's very.
There's a lot of upsides.
That's good.
There's a lot of upsides here,
So
but yeah, that was a sincere moment as well.
Yes.
So yeah. Anyway, that's me.
It just doubled as very convenient. I love it. Good stuff. Take some inspiration for Brucon. Lovely moment. As for the rest of you, making your preparations, if there's anything particular you want to highlight about your preparations, please, floor's yours.
The only thing I want to do is talk to Malar. Just want to pull him aside and be like, okay, when we get to Rakir, never walk away more than 5 feet from Neris. You're the person she hates the least, and I dare say may like you. Like it's hard to tell. She has resting hate face. So, when she does, killing everyone powers, she turns on fire. She wouldn't want you to be on fire. Like I trained with her most nights to stop it, and she has no problem lighting me on fire. Like she laughs a little bit when she lights me on fire. If you're next to her, she may not light you on fire. So just stay next to her, and maybe she'll kill less people than normal.
Oh, now, Mr. Seth, is this some form of empathy about being a wanted person you're sharing with Ms. Neris here?
Yeah.
No empathy.
I can't believe I
Only
overlooked
stabbing.
that in the recap.
Indeed, I will stay with Ms. Neris. She is under my personal protection, such as it is. Yes, I will note it, Mr. Seth. Look out for yourself, and look out. In fact, if I watch Ms. Neris's back, why don't you watch mine while we're heading into Rakir? Mr. Seth, just
a reverse psychology way of keeping me near you, so I can't be evil.
Well, is that a legitimate risk that you are evil, Mr. Seth?
No.
Insight check.
Oh, right. You can make an insight check.
22.
22.
I'm not evil.
Seth, in of himself, is not evil. You make it. You
Okay.
may also, as a consequence of your 22, you may make an Arcana check.
Yes.
Oh no.
You got inspiration?
4. Yeah, I might actually. No, I'm going to stick
No.
with 4. I'm going to
Right.
save the inspiration for something else.
Okay, with a 4, the only thing that pauses your thought for no, he's not evil is these magic powers he suddenly got. I don't like these very much. Something about it's a bit fishy, and not just the smell.
I'll fix Seth with his stare. I trust you, Mr. Seth. We must all be friends and looking after each other as we embark on this endeavour. Now, if you don't mind, and he pulls out of his pocket the tarot cards and says, I've got something I've got to do.
I want to insight check him when he says he trusts me.
Okay.
Shit. 11.
mean,
Mala, what's your
okay.
passive? What would be your passive?
Passive.
What's your charisma score? Sorry.
Oh no, my charisma. No, it's -1. Is my charisma.
I would.
So-
I would say. Well, I would say in which case Malar is quite easy to read. But with an 11, can't really tell. Does Malar trust Seth? Out of character.
Okay.
There is a. As the need arises, yes. It's not a deep sense of trust, but there's enough there to make this trip.
There's an arm's length trust. Rather
Yeah,
than close trust. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you get a sense that Seth, you get a sense that Malar sort of trusts you. Trusts you not to kill him or anyone else in the group.
I can work with this.
Yeah.
I can cut that line.
And it was actually a very good reminder that I didn't do in the recaps. Thank you, DK, for bringing as Malar for bringing that up. That Seth got the wanted poster last time from Crackers the Parrot of.
They don't need to be reminded.
Of the Knight's Teacher. So another reason. There's another reason that maybe you don't want to go back there just in case. Fair enough. And you told them. In fact, you told the parrot you're going to Rachir. Yes, that happened. Okay, so you have that conversation. Leo, is there any particular preparation there, type of stuff you want to do for? Oh, sorry, we'll come back to Malar with your tarot cards, right? We'll come back to that. We'll go to Leo quickly.
Because I know the direction of final, third sister 3 not being a significant number in old ladies in any way.
Not at all. I don't know why you think that.
I knew it was over the hills and far away towards Rachir.
Yes.
Now that we're up here,
Yes.
what direction is it pointing?
Eyes roll back into the head. Get a sense. Pulling you north.
North.
North by northwest.
Our reasonably friendly Dragonborn Drez
Yes.
Hal.
Yes.
If I wander up to him.
Yep.
Excuse me, sir. Drez.
Hello. Yes.
Hello. Pleasure. Could you tell me how's your directional sense? You are a fine, sharp mind.
Well, as the wyvern flies, I know the way. Yes. What did you?
That's very, very handy. I guess getting lost on a wyvern would be rather frustrating.
More difficult than you think.
I imagine yes. If you can see more than everyone else, it's harder to get lost. But if I were to point this way, points in direction of
Yes.
Sans, what would be over there? Any significant locations of note?
That's where we're headed. That's Perth.
Oh!
Is that way. The capital.
That is a wonderful synchronicity.
I'm being pointed in that direction.
What a coincidence. That's very useful. Very useful, Drez. Thank you very much. You have saved many a day, I'm sure.
Do I have you dealt with the Dragonborn before at all, Master Elf? There is something I can't put my finger on it.
Nope, we met you that one time when we came back.
Or others of... It's not important. Never mind.
Well, anyway, I'm sure I'll meet many a Dragonborn before the trip is through.
Dragonborn, kobold, maybe even lizard folk. There is the odd humanoid of other persuasion there, but for the most part, it's a Dragonborn, kobolds, some lizard folk. That is mostly what you'll find.
Lovely. And I guess we're, not even... It's not going to be a long hike with all the wyverns.
Nope.
Just a long hike on the way back.
Potentially.
if we're not killed.
Or if you decide to stay.
Oh, or that. Or that. I like how you didn't say no, we wouldn't. Okay. Well, I'm going to have a lovely time thinking about the potential death that we're just agreeing to.
If that's what you dream
Good.
about, that is your mind.
It's always a pleasure. I think I'm going to go away now. Have a lovely time.
Good.
Your scales are very shiny.
As is your hair.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good.
Okay.
Good day.
That's enough.
Just kind of, he holds.
Yeah.
He holds for a moment, look like kind of staring as you walk off, thinking, not sure about this guy. Something of the uncanny valley about you, which he can't put his finger on, but there you go. And sorry, yes, let's go back to Malar then with got your tarot cards. Are you perhaps doing the augury spell?
Yes, perhaps indeed I am. Yes,
Perhaps.
I'm going to cast it as a ritual, so I'm going to take 11 minutes just to
Sure.
center myself and start to. And what I'm asking, the thought in my head is this journey we're about to take going to put us in mortal danger?
Okay. So it's wheel, woe, or let me just double check with the spell a second, because I'm not sure if it just gives you it outright or if there's a roll involved.
No, it gives it to you outright, but it's a case of will for good results, woe for bad results, will and woe for good or bad, both results,
Or nothing.
and then nothing. So play with that how you see fit.
And sorry, just to reiterate the question, if I can have it again, please.
This journey we are about to embark on, will it put us in mortal danger? It only really relates to a course of action you're going to take in the next 30 minutes. So I'm sort of tying it to this journey we're about to undertake.
Okay. You do get a clear sense of wheel.
Okay. Gather the cards up, put them back in their little box, into the utility vest. Up, go. Malar's done.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. So, having consulted the tarot cards, yes, what you pulled out were the equivalent of like the 10 of Pentacles, good fortune, and other good juju tarot cards of the minor arcana rather than the major arcana.
Okay.
I have to pull out my tarot cards to know precisely, but we'll go with that for now. Seems fortuitous. Good omens for you. So, if you're all ready to depart, you see.
Do we need to check in on any Brina and Neris? I'm guessing neither of them really have a whole lot to do because they've only just arrived here anyway. Is there anything for either of them?
Neris is mostly sticking with her horse, with Laus, and stroking her mane, and seems to be muttering to the horse, as if you kind of get the sense that she's reassuring the horse, but it seems perhaps maybe reassuring herself, but is too proud to admit that she's reassuring herself. Brina, on the other hand, seems very upbeat, quite excited, explore new lands. Woo, gonna go flying again, and she loves flying, so this is all good for her. But she does, as you finish your augury, Malar, because Brina's been watching over you as you're doing it, quite interested in what you've been doing. She kind of tugs you on the sleeve and says, we are gonna come back, aren't we, eventually? I just think I don't need to be back anytime soon, but I think I probably should go and check in with my family at some point, in a month or so, just see how they're getting on.
Well, if we don't have a way of getting back, then something's gone horribly, horribly wrong. That's absolutely the plan.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm ready to go flying. I've never ridden a wyvern before.
No, me neither.
Well, this would be experience for both of us then.
Sorry, James, missed that.
James, hello.
You know,
Yeah, there you go. We got you.
like, do we need to fly? Like, you know, can we take a boat? Like, just go somewhere else, go to the ocean, maybe walk. Flying doesn't seem the most efficient form of travel. Like,
Really, being able to go in a straight line to wherever it is you want to go doesn't seem like the most efficient form of travel.
We
Hey,
could
it's
ask.
so high.
I have
In
heard
the
it's very bad for
sky.
the environment.
It's definitely bad for the environment underneath you if you fall off.
It's all that
That's
methane
absolutely true.
from the wyverns as they're flying.
So Seth, Brucon kind of like lays a hand on Seth's arm and goes, "Seth, I'm gonna level with you. I'm fucking shitting myself right now. I am not a flying person, so it's okay to be alarmed by this. I think this is not something we're gonna. I don't think we're going to convince these Dragonborn to take their wyverns on a bunch of boats. And frankly, I don't know many people with boats who would quite like a bunch of large, heavy, fire-breathing lizards on them anyway.
If we were meant
Do-
to
do
fly,
this
we would be our cockroach.
don't know.
I have skills.
You haven't seen them breathe fire,
Okay, well-
but you don't know.
Okay, well, good for you, Seth.
I don't want to go.
Seth, well, you still got that ring, haven't you, Seth? So if you do fall off, you'll be okay.
I'm not attuned to it. I was gonna give it to you since you keep flying.
Well, I've got the spell prepared as well, so I wouldn't mind taking the ring though. If you wanted to give it to me, but I've got the spell ready anyway. So if you're, as long as you're close to me, then if you fall off, then you'll be fine. Maybe
Yes,
maybe
if
we
I
could go on
fall,
the-
save me.
maybe we could go on the same one.
Yes, I trust you're in charge of me. Don't let me die.
And she kind of looks up to Malar, kind of raises a hand so that Seth shouldn't really hear, and he says, "I just think he needs a bit of reassurance so he feels safe." Yeah.
Oh, Ms. Bryn, I fully understand, but you can let him fall a little way if he does come off, and then save him. You don't have to save him straight away.
I'm going to pick up Brina, and I'm going to Brina's on my wyvern, and I'm going to walk away with her and not let her go, and she is saving my life.
All right. So I guess you'll be front of the queue then, Seth, with Brina, as you go to Drez is. You see some of his guards, some of his knights are mounting up on their wyverns or withens or whatever you'd like to call them, into some sort of formation. Ah, finally, you're ready to go then. So
Yes, ready.
Okay. Well, obviously we normally have one rider, not normally passengers, so you can't be parted from the little one, huh? Points at Seth.
Yep. She's fine with me.
Yeah. We just feel safer together. Oh, this is cute. Fine. You two can ride with me then. There's my steed can carry the three of us. I think that should be fine. He's a strong wyvern. As for the rest of you, we can. I will trust each of you to one of my most trusted riders. You should be fine, but it can only be one for each of. And looks for a moment at Malar.
He a big boy. He a big boy.
We may have to carry you in their claws underneath rather than on the back, if that is just for the distribution. I think for a creature of your stature, perhaps may not be so aerodynamic. So,
Now, how long do you anticipate this will take?
So I've just got this mental image now of Malar flying through the air with his trunk like trailing behind his face.
going to the first. Oh, dear.
God.
Welcome to Thursday nights, everyone. Hashtag is it Thursday yet? Sorry, I'm sorry. Sorry, Mala.
How long will the journey take? How long will we be in the air for?
Well, it will be a few hours, maybe 4 to 6, depending on the weather.
Okay, that's I can make my peace with that very well.
It's okay. We can. They can grab you by one claw on each shoulder. Then your hands are free. You know.
Don't we have a ring that can make people light? In a sort of falling like a feather kind of way.
Oh. I'm not sure.
I've got.
How it works. Sorry, go ahead.
I've got some ideas. It's fine. When we get airborne, I might try a thing.
Okay. Bruco goes, I want to go on the wyvern that's watching his. Sounds cool.
Yes, we can get you on one that is close to him, sure. No problem. So,
excellent.
Okay, so...
What are the in-flight meal options? Sorry, no, that's too better.
And if you look out over the left wing...
Yeah, exactly, yeah. In the event of loss of wyvern pressure.
You assume crash positions. Yeah. And he looks over to Leobrin. You shall be fine. We can get you onto one of them, as with the dwarf, and of course, your friend the elf here, looking at Neris, who again looks pissed off that she's the center of attention. You will not leave my sight, so you will be in the vanguard. I shall put you in the front most of our formation, so that everyone can see and make sure you don't do anything stupid. And this, you see, like, for a moment, flicker, her eyes go from red to orange. You feel that she's about to cast a spell. And she looks over to the rest of you, looks over to Malar in particular for reassurance, and she just... I'm not going anywhere without my horse. So Drez is a bit taken aback. You want to take the horses with you? Really? It's going to slow us down. It's not very practical to bring them along. I'm not going anywhere.
Crying out loud, man! Give her a break. Come on, throw a bone here.
Do you want me to burn this place to the ground? Because I will. Well, I need you, so if bringing you means I have to bring your steed, then fine. We shall make this work. We've got enough wyverns to pick them up, though they will have to go in the talons. We'll have to make sure that they don't try to take a bite out of them. You know, their feral instincts and all that. And Nair's not at all amused by this. Not just dead face.
Brucon's a few feet away, but he calls out, "Read the room, man!"
Yes. Soon, you will be in our territory, yeah, and then you may read the rooms there. And you will see it is, well, I don't want to give too much away, but it is much different to what you are used to, I'm sure. Okay.
Sorry, Jack. Just before takeoff, can we have a very, very small retcon?
Yes.
During the waiting period before we all kind of talk to Drez and get ready to actually go. One thing Brucon wants to do, it's really, really small. He just wants to make sure he's got a length of rope with a grappling hook attached to the end.
Idea.
Reasonably close to hand in his pack. Like it's in the pack, but he wants to be able to just kind of dip the hand in, grab the length, and just like boom, I have a rope with a grappling hook on the end.
Oh, 100%. That's totally fine. Makes sense. Yep. Great. You have that. So you're all ready to depart for a cheer. So, first to take off is is Neris on her wyvern, looking decidedly pissed off and uncomfortable, but takes to the sky. The rest of you, one by one, your wyverns start taking off as well. Malar, as you see them start taking off, you're looking around, you're seeing this vast spectacle of dragons. This is the stuff of fairy tales. Like, this is not what you signed up for when you agreed to go and meet the Lady Helene Grenforth. And before you can gather your thoughts, you're grabbed by both shoulders by a wyvern that takes off into the sky. These majestic dragon-like creatures are what's most disconcerting about them, as you gathered when you had a close fight with them some days ago, is, as well as their jaws, is the barbed tail, which swings venomously around as they gleefully take to the skies. And you're all kind of a little bit nervous, but equally it's breathtaking, this view. It's a clear day. There are a few clouds in the sky, but before you know it, you're heading into the clouds. And for all of you, this is the highest you've ever been. But for Malar, this is the highest in altitude you've been, but it reminds
in altitude.
Yes. Otherwise, at your discretion. But because you've still got that substance, Brucon. But Malar, as you rise above the cloud canopy, your mind harkens back to that fateful dream that was somehow real that you had, where you met Festir and were given Fortune's Folly. Where you fought that giant, and there were the kind of rolling, like dry ice cloudscape that you were walking along. It feels like that. You feel the closest you've been to the heavens without being that close to death. And high above, looking down on all of you, out of your sight, out of your understanding completely, are 8 individuals who are regarding this latest change. Some of them are punching each other in the arm and pointing down, others looking apprehensive. One in particular seems very interested, though silent, a hooded figure. A skeletal hand pulls out a d20 and
Yes!
and throws it down.
How long has it been? It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Actually, the last one was the
long.
Mind Flayers, wasn't it?
I think it was. So yeah, we're back with
Alright.
Fate Dice. Oh yes.
All right.
Buckle up.
Okay. How
Clench.
screwed are we?
It rolls and a number comes up under the hood. For a moment, some light catches this figure's face. And again, it is a skeletal face, but it contorts a little bit into what appears to be either a grimace or a smile. And then that figure disappears. And then we're back with you guys soaring through the sky. It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. Not one of those you can easily hide. No, it's a little bit funny flying across. You're somewhat giddy on the sense that I could fall to certain death right now, but this view, man, I've never seen anything like it. It's amazing, and obviously, the wind and the sensory experience is overwhelming for most of you. Yes, Seth.
I would like to start screaming and a little bit of crying.
You can use a bonus action to scream, yeah?
Thank you. I'll scream for about a minute or so, and then just silently weep a little bit for the remainder of the journey.
You feel as you start, after screaming for a few seconds, you just feel a very small hand grip onto your arm, but you've got your arm round Brina in front of you, and she just grips onto you, and you hear her while you're screaming. She's going wee. She's having the best time, but then she stops when she's hearing you screaming, and she just grips your hand and says, "It's okay, Seth. We're gonna be fine. Don't worry."
It does not help. I would like to continue screaming for a minute.
Okay, you continue screaming, but she tries to reassure you as you keep on screaming, and you eventually stop. And just when you stop screaming, the wyverns level out, just majestically soar through the skies. The sun in your face, kissing all of your faces. You have to squint to be able to see anything ahead of you, but the wyverns seem to be flying true, not fazed by the theoretical blindness from the sunlight. After maybe an hour or so at this trajectory, Seth, your stomach drops into your arse as you feel the wyverns start to descend and just immediately drop a little bit, starting down. Neris's one goes first. You hear go, ah! Which takes you all by surprise because Neris has never screamed, as far as you're aware. And for a moment you think that maybe her wyvern's caught fire, but no, it's just her and the Dragonborn who's riding with her. Is then you can see frantically like patting on her, trying to put her out, and it's not doing anything. The wyvern howls out. Continues its descent, in fact, actually a bit quicker, as if trying to put out the flames. The rest of you are not going as fast, but you can see that one pulling away. And on Drez's order, the rest of you all start to pick up speed, trying to catch up with this runaway wyvern. As you all start to catch up with it, fire goes out on Neris. She seems to have regained composure. And now you have a view underneath the clouds. You can see the land below you. Now, compared to Burikrin, which was green, rolling hills, there were somewhat checkered landscapes of bushes, forests, other areas like the Salt Lake, a bit of a hodgepodge of things. The land below you, aside from all the mountains and hillsides, which are all, there's a very much a brown hue, like the earth has been well trodden, that it's mostly dirt and or dried up kind of mud, as opposed to any grass or forests. This landscape seems much more barren, I guess you would say, but punctuating in areas below, you can see even from this distance there are what look as if they're minor circles of very small mountains, like spikes piercing the sky. As you descend further, you can see that actually these appear to be settlements, which have numerous towers, which are like spikes or spires piercing into the sky. Brucon, this is very indicative of the vision that you had. You can't really make too many shapes from this height, but as well as the spiked buildings, there are flatter, square sort of buildings around them as well. You can see thoroughfares. You can see every single settlement that you can see within range. There seems to be a caterpillar moving, or a ring around each of them, which you gather is probably a palisade or stone walls, some kind of fortification anyway. And you can see torch fires, campfires, the like, lighting up each of these settlements. As you are just making your descent over the next hour, you are closing in on the largest of these settlements. Beyond it, you can see Leo. You're going to recognize immediately the Westuary on the other side of this. On the other side of this particular settlement, and just on the edge of your sightline, Leobrin, you can see the edge of Loranlas. You can see, even from here, the faintest edge of those tall trees, the pine woods, the redwoods, and the like that make your home just out of reach. And as you're closing in onto this settlement, Brucon, the vision that you had, you see the exact picture that you saw. It's deja vu. So, to explain to the rest of you, because you wouldn't have had the vision that Brucon had, a great settlement, as I said, like the others, with these very large towers that make spikes piercing the sky, all of this grey stone, occasionally glinting with bronze at its tips. There is also looking over this very large settlement that you can see from here, divided by roads up into 6 different segments. Looking over these and beyond where you guys are coming from, so on the westerly side of the settlement, up on a high rise, maybe 100, 200 feet up on a sort of rock plinth or formation, sitting atop this is a grand keep. This keep also seems to be well fortified with stone walls and towers that again form this spike shape. And within that you can see the citadel itself, immaculately gleaming in bronze. This would appear to be the palace of Herthir. You get a great view of this because it seems that is in fact where you're headed. You swoop in low, coming over the walls of Herthir, and can see now below. You can make out details now, market squares, busy inns, taverns. There's a gambling den that appears to be other such pursuits and all kinds of traders and the like available. But there is not a buzz about this like the excitement you got in Hilberg when Market Day was on. It's a lot more sullen here. People seem to be keeping themselves to themselves, going to and from where they need to be, and then directly back to presumably their homes. There's not much idle chit-chat in the middle of the street. That doesn't seem to be the case here. Can you all make perception checks, please?
I perceive reasonably clearly now the rain is
See the
14.
13.
Ooh, 13, 14,
12.
12.
Oh,
Ah, just letting the side down. Never mind.
Really clustering here.
You are. For those who got 14, so Brucon, I believe, right? Yep. One thing that you spot that wouldn't have caught the eyes of the rest of them, but perhaps this because you've seen this place before in a dream to an extent, you could overlook some of the spectacle and hone in on the detail. You notice that pretty much on every street corner or so, there appears to be it's almost like a 6-foot iron locker, but a wide locker. Almost like post boxes, that they just appear to be all over the place, dotted about the landscape, which is very unusual. You've seen nothing like that in Burikrin. Like these strange, strong boxes on the street corners seems very conspicuously out of the ordinary. You understand that this is Herthir, the capital of Rachir. Now, there's one last
How are we
check.
spelling that?
Sorry, yeah.
How are we spelling Herthir?
Hurt, Hurthir. Herthir. I will give you guys. I created on Incarnate a map of the city. I will send that to you guys out of session. I'll put it up on the Discord actually, so everyone can see it.
Maps.
is that up on the World Anvil site as well?
It will be. Yes, I haven't updated World Anvil for months, but I will. That will go up there. Yes.
I feel like you just want to tell us that we're going to get hurt here.
It almost says that, yes. Can you all this is a last group check for now. I'd like you all to make history checks. This is to see what you know of Rachir before going in here. The DC is different for each of you depending on your background.
I'm burning my inspiration on this.
All right.
I'm going to roll with advantage.
I got 11.
Okay.
Got 14.
14 for the Oberyn. Okay.
I got 18.
18 for Malar and Brucon.
And Brucon got 7.
So Seth and Brucon. Well, let's start with Seth because he comes from the furthest from the Dragonborn Kingdom. You haven't really had any dealings with Dragonborn, as far as you're aware. The only thing you know is what was already been established: this Cold War with Burikrin, and that these guys seem fairly antagonising, and you don't, not sure about them. They seem a bit suspicious. Brucon, you were well educated, as given your birthright, your family was was quite well off and afforded you a good education. However, Burikrin's education on Rachir is somewhat slanted. As you would imagine, it would be a little bit... have a little bit of a bias towards Burikrin as opposed to their neighbours. So you understand that... shock at that. Lots of... one of the things that you picked up in the schoolyard were people who would do impressions of typical Rachiri types, and they'd all be very stiff upper lip, no sense of humour, very sort of deadpan, very Soviet, I guess you would describe them as. That just no messing around, sullen, bit boring. That's all you've kind of got, and the whole Cold War thing that they keep on trying to take the mountains that belong to us. Damn it, Leoberin, you have a unique perspective on this because Loranlas gets on well with the Dragonborn Kingdom. They are neighbours. They trade regularly. They seem to have, and as a courtier as well, you know that they have good diplomatic relations. Probably one of the only civilizations that does have a good relationship with the Dragonborn Kingdom as it goes. And you ascertain that, yes, from your understanding, this dispute between Rachir and Burikrin, it just comes down to money. It's just about the bronze, the minerals, the resources in the mountains, and, you know, who's the more powerful faction. There's a lot of, you know, jockeying for position and, what's the word? Not grandstanding, but you know, there's a lot of pomp and circumstance, I guess. And then Mala, with your 18, you've done a lot of reading, and you have been somewhat skeptical of some of the more biased views of Rachir. You understand that that there are two sides to every story, and this feud that goes between Burikrin and Rachir, from your understanding, it seems to be deep-rooted, stemming so far back in their history because of in the days of old, Rachir was the domain of the Great Bronze Dragon or the Great Copper Dragon, whereas Burikrin was the home of the dwarves, and then later on the halflings and the humans that would then come to unite and create the Burikrin Republic. And so there's always been a bit of a rivalry there. Then when Ushtag took over in Rachir, made that his dominion, then there was that whole war between the two factions. Finally, when Grenforth came to aid the Burikrin in their struggle against Ushtag, finally he was slain in a place called Rainfire, a little town inside of Rachir, and there seemed to be an uneasy peace after that, with these Rachiri clansmen squabbling over, you know, little bits of land. Finally, they were united in the Dragonborn Kingdom, and they seem to be, you know, getting onto some kind of even keel. They seem to be, as in terms of a society and culturally, seem to be a bit behind Burikrin. But with the creation of the kingdom, it seemed that they were getting themselves in order and becoming a bit more civilized. It just seems that, again, jockeying for position, seeing who's, you know, the mightier of the two countries, seems to be, these petty squabbles seem to be what's at the heart between the debate between Burikrin and Rachir, and of course the resources we mentioned.
Is there a certain amount of saber rattling here? Like, are we talking? This is Cold War territory.
Yes.
Like, they could go to war, but for whatever reason they're trying not to, or maybe they do want to go to war, but they're sort of, the situation hasn't, the correct circumstances hasn't arisen yet.
Yeah, from your understanding, it's got. I mean, you're no military buff, but it seems that either if there's a war, there's going to be heavy casualties on both sides, and it seems neither wants that to happen. Neither wants to be the one to throw the first punch, but they're both ready in case it happens. There is, definitely the Cold War, you know, arms race kind of thing going on.
Sure.
As you fly over the city, and you can see ahead of you the Great Keep, the palace. As it comes more closer into the foreground for you, you guys can see the tower, even the edges of the walls and the towers that make up the keep, the bailey. all seem to be glinting in places with bronze. Bronze seems to be a big deal here. The palace itself, it seems as if the entirety of the palace, of the keep itself, seems to be made of bronze. It shines in the lights, and it's giving this pinky orange glow. And you can see ahead of it, outside of the palace, but within the walls of the Bailey, you can see a very large, very open, flat concrete space. It appears to be the landing zone, because all of you, the wyverns, are just descending on this area. It's so large, this area. You could imagine, you could imagine a great dragon like the one that the Oberyn created in the Eyrie would comfortably fit in here and be able to swing a cat in here without any problem on this particular landing strip. It's very large. And one by one, Nerys is first. The wyverns start landing. You see them delicately place the horses down. The horses look to be a lot paler than when you took off. They're very shell-shocked and unsure of themselves, particularly Horsey. Malar, you are gently set down as well. And yeah, it seems with wyverns, clearly masters of the skies. They put you down ever so delicately that you don't even feel like you're going to fall over from the impact. You just planted, done. The rest of you all begin to land as well. And as the dust settles, Drez puts one leg over his wyvern and sweeps off, jumps down onto the ground, and looks to you all. Ah, my friends, or colleagues, or acquaintances, welcome.
Yep, got it on the third try. Well done.
Welcome to Herthir. This is the palace of Herthir. It is a great place. The king knows that you are coming, but he did not know when, so I will have to make some inquiries. You may have to be put up into a waiting room for a bit, but I must establish ground rules before we go any further. You may not cast any spells when you are in the presence of the king, or you will be thrown in prison for this. You cannot take this risk with our monarch, okay? Also, I will have to take your weapons, or the captain of the Royal Guard will have to take your weapons before you go in to see the king. I'm not going to take your weapons. I have no use for them myself.
How many of the weapons?
All of your weapons.
All of that? Oh.
You cannot see the king while you are armed.
Brucon looks at his hands and feet for a moment, and then kind of looks around and sort of goes,
"Get away with this."
So are they going to take my hands?
I am a living weapon.
Exactly. Ooh, that's a solid.
And what if something accidentally catches fire? There is this steely gaze to the Dragonborn. Then we shall put it out. Then the Royal Guard shall put it out very quickly. And a very toothy grin from Drez in response. So I will, if you don't mind waiting here, I will go check in and see where you are to go first. And swivels about turn and heads towards the gate. So you are, as you're all waiting, you have a moment to kind of take in your surroundings. General colour tones, as I said, you got the bronze, so there's the pinky orange kind of glow in places. But for the most part, greys, browns, and blacks are kind of the general tones that you see in this place. And
we're in Mordor, basically.
Not quite Mordor, but I see where you're coming from. Yes, there is a bit of that.
More Mordor than not Mordor.
Yeah, it's more Mordor than you're used to. And
can I just one other quick question? When in Brucon's vision, the scales that he saw, were they like above literally the building that we're at now, or was it?
It was
more
over the
generic,
city as a whole, I think.
Over the city as a whole, right?
So you wait a few moments.
When the guy comes to take our weapons, I'm just going to give him scimitar, rapier, short sword,
Just to
short sword, dagger,
It's your
crossbow.
classic. It's
Whip.
your classic disarming scene.
yes.
Whip. when did you
I have a
get
whip.
that?
Is that one of those classic
Okay.
scenes
I got
where
it
you
with
go,
my shield.
this is what happens when
sweet.
you don't have any encumbrance. Yes, when Drez returns, you see that he is flanked by royal guards. You can tell they're royal guards because they not only do each of them have halberds with tiny little flags with the flag of Rachir on it, which you note is it appears to be a dragonborn claw holding a halberd, and then on the spear of the halberd is a golden crown, and each of the gems in the crown are a different colour. Malar you would recognise with your 18. You would know that actually, fun fact, each of those colours represents each colour of the original dragons that held dominion over the many lands way back when, and of which the Dragonborn are descended from. So there's a white/silver one, there's a blue one, there's a red one, there's a green one, there's a gold one, there's a bronze one, and the other one, which oh my god, I'm losing my trail, and the black one. There we go. 7 gems. Anyway, and they are all dressed in plate armor with helms as well, very ornately designed with you can see like dragon motifs and the like. Very much about spiky bits and dragons seem to be the general themes here. And one last thing to note, their plate armor is all made of bronze. So, this is Captain Orburn. He is the captain of the Royal Guard, and he shall be taking things from here. It was nice to meet you. We may cross paths again. I will be in the city for at least a few days, so perhaps we'll see each other again. But good luck.
Well, Drez, if you ever want your ass handed to you again, you know where to find me.
I'll make sure to have a drink ready to toast your next victory. Or mine, as the case may be.
Sure, you keep dreaming, buddy. See you later.
And he heads back over to his wyvern, seems to be tending to it, and you see that there's some kobolds have come out behind the royal guards carrying baskets full of raw meat, and they kind of head over to the wyverns and start feeding them. The captain of the royal guards is suitably the tallest and widest of the royal guards that approach you. He's like, we're talking proper upside down triangle bodybuilder beefcake type. May have skipped leg day, but top half is pretty impressive. You see beneath his very full helm, you can see the glint of yellow-green eyes. There is no smile upon his face, unlike Drez, who seemed a lot more jovial. This individual.
What was this guy's name again? Sorry,
Captain
Orban.
Orban, as in the colour. Welcome to Hertir. You are to see the king. I must take your weapons before you do so. He is in audience at the moment. You will have to wait. When he is free, we shall bring you to him. But for now, you must come with me to waiting room. He doesn't seem to be as well versed in common as Drez does. He seems to drop a few words, but you get the gist of what he's saying. So, hand over weapon. Yes?
Okay. Malar will disarm.
He clicks his fingers, the fingers that's holding his great halberd, and two of the guards head on over. One of them offers the other his halberd, and instead opens out his arms to then receive weapons from you guys. and then a second one also comes over to help because there's quite a lot of weapons. Once Seth starts disarming,
yeah, and
a
then
second
Seth
guard
starts,
comes over to try and help pick up all of these weapons that you're dispensing. So I take it you are you all cooperating and giving your weapons away, or are you trying to smuggle any weapons? What's the...
Brucon will certainly hand over his cookery, although as he does, and yeah, Brucon's just gonna hand everything over, but as he does, he turns to the. He kind of like looks into the eyes of the Dragonborn that's like there ready to take them from him and says, I'm going to need a... Oh, wait a moment. These guys aren't so great with common. I'm going to need a receipt. You know? A receipt. Yes? I give you the... And you give me a piece of... Yep. Yes.
He
turns around and goes, I don't think he's following. I need proof of acquisition.
He gives you complete stink eye, and without moving, you see him speak in Draconic, which I think Neris speaks Draconic. I don't know if the rest of you, if any of you speak Draconic.
Neris does speak Draconic. Brucon does not.
Kind of he, without moving, mutters something in Draconic. And one of the royal guards, a little confused, just kind of reaches into his pocket and pulls out a piece of parchment, hands it over to you, and then a quill.
Just a piece. Is it just a piece? Oh, okay, right. Okay, Brucon kind of writes a quick description of his weapons, and then proffers it to the guy and go, "You need to sign it."
He just takes the paper and puts it in his pocket.
No. Brucon turns to the others and goes, with these people, honestly, they just don't understand. All right, fine, and hands over the stuff. However, he will, he'll kind of pile all the stuff up. Brucon has 3 daggers, and he is going to hand over 2 of his daggers. Ooh. With his cookery and his tonfar. The daggers are... Because the daggers are not his primary weapon, so he's got those sort of secreted away, and he's going to give 2 of them over, but not give the third one.
Okay, so as you're not giving the third one over, can you make a sleight of hand check, please?
I can certainly try. Do you know what? I'm going to use that fresh inspiration.
Ooh, do it. Rip the band-aid off.
Sleight of hand. Oh, that was such a waste of an inspiration. 12 was the best I got out of that roll. That was bad.
So one of the guards notices as you are reaching behind you to pull out the daggers, notice that there is a third, and calls out in Draconic to the captain of the guard, who then goes, "Hand over weapons. All weapons."
Brucon goes, forget my own head next, and reaches back and hands over the dagger.
Nice save, big guy. Like it. Seth, are you acquiescing?
Yeah, passing over 1 scimitar, 1 rapier, 2 short swords, 2 daggers, a crossbow,
okay,
a whip. And then I'm patting down myself one more time. I'm like, hang on. 1 sec.
Don't forget the trebuchet, Seth. You always forget the trebuchet.
Take out one more dagger from my boot. And I'm like,
the dagger from your boot.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's it.
And
I pass that
scimitar
over.
of speed, you bring that over. So just to double check here, because I'm not checking your character sheet, have you in fact given over all of your weapons? Can you make a sleight of hand check, please?
I want to use my inspiration.
Trying to play the DM.
I hope you brought enough weapons for everybody. Oh, shit,
He's got a small arsenal for himself.
Yeah, is it?
26.
26. With a 26, you can stow away whichever of the weapons you're trying not to give away.
So,
1 dagger.
Thought it might be a dagger, yeah. If it was the crossbow, we were going to have words.
you know D&D Beyond pings when dice rolls happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the 12 before the 26?
I said, can I do I'm using my inspiration.
Ah, inspiration. Yeah,
Yeah.
smart.
Ah, yes, good.
Yeah, well,
Thank
yeah.
you, thank you, thank you.
I'm sorry,
Thank you,
am I
Marshall.
making-
Love
It's
your work.
smart when it gives
Am
you
I
a
making-
26. When it gives you a 12.
Am I making you ping? I'm sorry.
Oh, I think it's
Yeah,
no,
they're all
yeah,
popping
yeah,
up on my
yeah,
screen.
yeah.
12. I don't know what's going on there.
D&D Beyond.
Sorry,
like, yeah, pings
I didn't
everything.
realise I was making you all ping because I've not got my dice at my parents.
Yeah.
And the rest of you are
You
all
did an Eldritch
giving
Blast
giving
earlier, didn't
everything over. Leo Bryn,
Oh,
are
that
you
was the other day.
giving all the weapons over that you possess?
Now, I have to do a couple of things.
Yes.
While someone else is handing over weapons, I'll probably. I guess Malar's been less occupied with weapon handing over. So while like Seth or Brucon is doing their loads of weapons, Leo's going to sort of like half under cape, like hold up the fucking fingerbone dagger.
Ah, yeah.
Fucking super evil dragonborn important
Oh no!
thing and be like
Help me!
culturally important from the dragon people. Fucking evil is in my pocket.
Malar will run over. Will approach Leobrin and be like, "Oh goodness, oh, Mr. Leobrin, oh, you're just a little bit of sky sick. That's all that is. Oh, Mr. Leo." And as I'm doing that, I'll say to him under my breath, "Oh, okay. I need you to be very careful now and just ever so gently insert the knife into one of my nostrils. And the trunk goes up underneath the cloak.
I didn't know that was going there.
I will try and hold it as straight as I can."
Okay. I guess we're gonna do this. I mean, I'm gonna insert like the blunt end, not the pointy end, into Malar's nose.
God.
Yeah, okay.
So just don't sneeze or you might dart someone.
Okay. All right.
How are we rolling for this?
I'd like you both to make stealth checks to begin with.
Cool.
And then
Oh,
presumably
shit me.
Malar's going to need to roll a sleight of nose check.
Well, I'm pretty sure that my weapons display is distracting a few people of.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
you know,
Brucon and
actually,
Seth-
that's a very good point. You can have advantage on your stealth roll because of the
Brucon and
display
Seth between
itself.
them are making a whole big thing about all this.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping other people can.
Oh no, get as much advantage as possible out that 26 from Seth.
Yes, I think that's only fair.
I'm not going to roll with advantage because I just rolled a natural 20, so...
Oh.
Yeah.
Good, 'cause hopefully that-
Yeah. Very nice.
Hopefully that
means you
counteracts
get
my
20, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully that counteracts my with advantage 11.
Oh wow. Okay, so Seth's making a real meal out of pulling out all of his weapons, like tang, 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 just piling up his blades. And one of them does kind of look over as you two are, gathered together, a bit conspicuously with the cloak. Leo, you put the cloak up and then put it in camouflage mode. Try and cloak of many fashions now in camo. Which then, hey, what is? Hey, what you doing? What you doing, huh? And then Malar, you now have a moment to be able to get this up your schnoz. You need to make a. Okay, first of all, make a sleight of hand check, and there'll be one other check after this if this is successful.
Well, I rolled a 4.
Okay. Yeah. And you just, and in your panic, you just go to ram the dagger up your trunk.
Try and snort it up.
Try and snort it up, and it gets stuck. And like when you got a blocked nose. But this is going into your trunk, and you kind of your whole trunk contorts, and it like an accordion, it just compresses down, and then you're trying to shove the dagger in, and then you're like really wrestling with it. You jam so hard, you take 4 points of bludgeoning damage as you're trying to ram this thing into your nose. And then the impact of you trying to push this up and pushing your trunk to that extent, suddenly it's just not going to hold anymore, and it springs back, and the dagger just flies onto the floor. There's ting, 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 ting. And it's there at the two of your feet.
Why did we pick up this dagger when we knew we were going into Rachir? Like, it seems a little, in hindsight, it seems foolish. But here we are.
Whatever.
Okay.
Being passed down.
Immediately, two of the guards are upon you two, pulling you apart. It's like one on each of you, restraining you. Neris immediately looks panicked. Well, not panicked. Immediately looks ready for battle, and flame on! Starts flaming. The captain holds up his hand. Stop! And while one guard is still holding Seth's stuff, and Seth's continuing to decant his items, the captain strides over between you two and picks up this blade. The captain himself tucks it into his belt.
We need to kill him.
Doesn't say a word. And then goes back to his previous position.
Fucking memorize his face.
He waves the two guards, and they release you both. Neris. Flame turns off. To break the tension, Brina goes, you can have this, and offers her wand. And as she does so, she turns it into a quarterstaff. And she presses the button on it as well. So when they go to grab it, suddenly the quarterstaff won't move. And, and it's just standing upright, and they're trying to pull it, and it's not moving. What is? I said, oh, sorry. Oh, it's quite heavy. And she just looks up at Seth and Brucon, as you can see a big smirk. Practical joker. Hang on 1 second. And
Brucon does a great.
she goes back over and presses the button, and then immediately the staff can be moved again, and it falls to the floor in their surprise. Magic. More like magic. Takes the quarter staff. She gives over the rest of it. I think that's all she has weapon-wise, actually. But if she had any others, she would give those over too. Yeah. Neris wordlessly just starts dropping her items onto the floor. Doesn't even put them in the guard's hands. Just drops them onto the floor with a bit of disdain. And then you are all, after the next minute or so, you are all disarmed. And the weapons are gathered up between 3 of the guards now, and they march ahead of you guys through the gate and into the Palace of Herthir.
They
you
like
are
books?
escorted in as well.
Or do they care about books?
They haven't taken your book, no.
Cool.
So you guys are escorted into the palace. And you see it's very high ceilings, very grand, but notably old and not the most well renovated place. You can tell the age of the place, but inside the architecture is sound, and with these swooping arches, everything again. All of the architecture seems to glint with bronze, and all of you except Brucon may make Arcana checks as you enter.
Brucon could make an Arcana check if he wanted to. He totally couldn't, by the way. That's absolutely nothing he can do.
Arcana, my specialty. 19.
Apparently it is, yeah.
I don't want to turn them off so that I don't see your rolls before you announce them. I have to do that.
8 for Malar.
Okay. And Leo, what'd you get?
18.
18. So the 2 warlock types notice, you immediately notice an absence as you enter the walls of the palace. The magical essence that is just feels like just like underwear or clothes to you, just feels a part of you, disappears as you enter the walls. Suddenly you feel that your magical presence has left you. Malar noticed nothing at all. Everything seems fine. The gods are with you. There's no problems here whatsoever. But you two, you're like, I don't think I can do my cool things now. I don't like it.
Do we get to know about Neris and Brina's results?
Yep. Very good point. All right. Brina immediately goes, just speaks up, going, "There's an anti-magic field here."
God love her.
There it is.
Neris is like,
Oh, Brucon
"What?"
goes. Brucon turns to her and goes, "Oh, really? What do they? What does one of those do?"
It gets rid of.
He looks dead serious as he says this.
She goes, it's. She like laughs awkwardly, thinking it's a joke, and then realizes that you're being serious. It stops. It prevents magic from being in an area.
Oh wow. Cool. Anyway, and Brucon just carries on.
You are brought through this open sort of entranceway. As I said, very high ceilings, very large windows, but they're very tight mesh on the windows so that not a lot of light comes in. Tight lattice, should I say, on the windows. But there's also these grand bronze chandeliers, although most of the candles haven't been lit, and it looks like they haven't been lit for a long time. You are led through this entrance hall. You take a right, and you come through to a room similar in terms of style, but it has a few couches, chaise lounge, soft furnishings. There's a nice-looking mahogany coffee table. Please wait, and the captain gesticulates to the table, to the table and chairs. If you agree and go sit down in there, take places in there, two of the guards stay, flanking the doorway. The captain turns around and leaves. The other guards who were carrying your weapons notably didn't go in here. They carried on straight. They went somewhere else. And you're left in the waiting room with two guards and yourselves there waiting to be summoned before the king. Ooh, I think this is probably
Turn to one of the guards.
Sorry, yeah?
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, turn to one of the guards like, "So, how long you guys worked here? Making some idle chit-chat.
There's just like,
Making a friend."
no understand.
Well, get there, translate.
Neris
And she
rolls her
translate
eyes.
angrily.
She audibly rolls her eyes.
Audibly.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
so
God.
obvious.
Oh.
Horrible noise. Horrible noise.
Fine. She translates for you, and they say back to her in Draconic, and she translates for you. They have worked here for many years.
I can see the charm of trying to make friends isn't going to pass over in translation.
You don't want me to say that, do you?
No, Neris.
I kind of wanted to.
Let's
but-
just sit down.
Within a few moments, the captain of the guard returns, and he expects you all to stand up when he enters, but is a little bit peeved that you did not, and stamps his halberd onto the floor. Says, "The king will see you, but first, he has ordered that we are to take your magical equipment." The wizard points at Brina. "We must take book. Half elf points at Leobrun. Must take book. We must take book.
Okay.
Red elf We must take item. Magic item. Ness looks a bit confused. I think arcane focus, maybe. Fine. Hands over that. Brina, yeah, acquiesces as well. Loxodon. Must give a points in necklace.
Oh, now, come on. It's just a simple bit of metal with a symbol on it. There's nothing to be scared about, and I sort of hold it out to demonstrate there's nothing special about it.
So this is your holy symbol, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you make a deception check for me, please?
Romala, Lord of Social Stealth.
11.
You stay close. He
Oh,
doesn't
thank you.
doesn't take the item from you, but it's gonna be on your ass.
Is it, out of curiosity, is it particularly dark in here, or...
It's like in the entranceway. There's these very tall, very narrow windows. I guess there's, I want to say like medieval kind of Parisian style, perhaps, but but very very tight lattice, so only small bits of light get through.
Okay. Okay.
But it's well enough lit. There are some candles and things. It's not bright, but it's certainly lit enough for you to see clearly. But for mechanical sake, it is lit. Yes.
Okay, can I try something? Assuming we're in an antechamber and we're about to go
Yes.
see the king.
That's right. Yeah.
Can I try and pull out my lantern of revealing and just be like, "Oh my poor eyes! I'm from Isk, you know. We have much stronger sun that way. I just
Sure.
help me out."
Okay. Yeah, you do so. Just gives off light like a normal lantern would. You don't see any secret
Yep.
entrances or anything.
Okay. Yep. Just keep that running for the time being.
My old eyes. I may be blind,
Yeah.
but some things I can still see. Yes. You are. Yeah. Okay. So you do that, and Leobrin, are you giving over the book?
Sure.
Okay.
Take care of that.
He's-
If you're naughty, I'll know.
The captain has a sack with him, which he puts all of your items into. He seems to do so
That
respectfully.
is not how
He does so carefully. He's not throwing them in,
a sack.
but it is a sack.
It's a
yes,
sack.
it's just a cloth,
The
a sack
book
cloth sack.
A sack.
It's a yeah.
Gonna bend the spine. It's gonna get pages folded.
Your lovely leafy tome is it's carefully placed in the bag, and then Neris's rings dropped in, and Brina's leather-bound tome is put in ahead of yours. And he kind of puts the sack round his shoulder. Gum. And gesticulates for you guys to come with him to go see the king. I think this is probably a good point to leave things for today. So next session, you will be brought before the king himself. So that should be interesting. Perhaps answer some questions. Perhaps open up more questions. Who the heck knows? So. So thank you very much, guys, for today. Honestly, like coming into this, as I was saying to you beforehand, I was a bit anxious coming into it, but we had fun. It was great. I really enjoyed it. I feel a lot more psyched now for the next one, and I hope you do
Vigor.
too. As you're now in a we're now finally the Manylands. We're in a different place in the Manylands. Wow.
Yeah. We're past the many land, and we have now officially visited the many lands.
You're into the plurals, and there's no going back from the plurals. It's like the Urals, but there's many of them. The Urals and the plurals. That'll be in the next map I create, I guess. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in online. Thank you, the players, for joining me. The Cage is back next week. Our next episode will go live on Monday at 6 p.m. on YouTube. Make sure you are following us on YouTube so you won't miss the premiere of the next session of The Cage up on our YouTube channel. And we'll be back, before you know it, in a couple of weeks' time. Maybe in a couple of weeks' time. I will keep you posted because, you know, I said about needing time off, but maybe all right for another one. We'll see. We'll see. But in order to keep yourselves in the loop, make sure you're following us on social media at SliceandD6, because we'll let you know a day ahead or on the day when we're going to go live and do the things. And game nights, of course, will be ad hoc, so make sure you follow for a follow. Yeah. And we'll be back very soon with another game night. There may well, in fact, be one tomorrow, so make sure you're tuned in for that. Until then, guys, thank you so much. Hope you have a great week and stay safe. Bye.
Adios.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye.